It's our journey. The vision is ours. Everything pure. Everything.
EP World, what's going on? You're back with us today. From my right to left, you got the brother Prince, the brother DJ, and the brother Mel. We're here. We're going to give you some more of the content that y'all are going to come to enjoy and feed off of and continue to interact with. So today, we're going to get into a little bit of my background, the things I've been through, and what has brought me to the places that I've traveled, the levels I've achieved, how I've achieved them, and what I was able to channel from inside to bring out and manifest in this world. Um, Not to toot my own horn, but just to give y'all a perspective of who I am. And that's what we all essentially want to do as we engage y'all. We did this series of these 3 interviews solely for the purpose of giving y'all a look into who we are so y'all know who y'all are dealing with and understand what y'all are going to get. You know, that consistency that we try to continue to have and build on, and that congruency that is needed amongst men, especially nowadays. So without further ado, anything y'all got, but let y'all punch in. And
What's up, y'all? It's your boy Prince, like the singer. All I gotta say is please listen to this brother right here. There's a major difference between understanding and wisdom, right? And my brother Mel has both of them. So just tune in, please listen to him, and passing it off.
Yo, you already know DJ, the controversial individual that's blessing your screen. And he said, hey, what he say?
CAP cap.
CAP cap, but y'all will see why I'm controversial. But no, it's blessings. I know this individual for 2 months, and he's already blessed me with so much wisdom, experience, and opportunity that I could do nothing but give everything I got to him. So just to hear his story, man, I'm ready for it.
you know, respect.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'll take y'all right into it and just give y'all, my humble beginnings. Coming out of New York, Long Island, Amityville to be specific. Um, a lot of different things were going on in my household as a youth growing up. I was raised predominantly by my grandparents, almost like the fourth brother of the 3 sons that they had, my father being the youngest of them. And young parents, learn a lot on the go and tend to make a lot of mistakes, but very young parents tend to make even more. With that being said, everything that I saw growing up kind of motivated me to not do what I saw, with the exception of my grandparents. My grandparents were both, um, my grandfather was an immigrant from Panama, and my grandmother was first generation. Her parents were immigrants from Curacao. So, with that mixture of Caribbean, West Indian, and Hispanic Latino blood, you can imagine there's a lot of things that I heard and saw. I essentially heard 3 different languages being spoken in the household at any given time. And it just fueled me to try and understand more and understand people more, which granted I'm not always great at because at heart I'm a New Yorker. And yeah, I am very judgmental. But that's part of the survival set, right? The survival set of skills that you acquire in any environment where you're consistently oversaturated with um, visual, um, mental, and every other type of stimulation you can imagine. So I do walk around constantly assessing who's around me, what's going on around me, what just dropped 10 feet away, what's coming 20 feet away, and what's right in front of me. And a lot of times when you do that, you don't always hit the marks. Like I was saying, um, young parents tend to make more mistakes than more mature. And at the time when my parents had me when my mother gave birth to me. She was 17 and my father was 19, excuse me. So I saw their mistakes. I grew through their mistakes. And again, I learned what I didn't want to do, but I also learned, to be transparent because if nothing else they could give me, they gave me the understanding that to make mistakes is one thing, but to be truthful and real about the mistakes as you make them and kind of give insight into how it happened, why it happened, and what actually happened is a whole nother thing. And that's one thing that I always give them respect for doing. My mother and my father specifically. Um, my grandma,
So
yeah,
I do have a question there. Was
which
you stated that, and that's one thing that I learned very, very late or the latter part of my life
mhm,
was showing respect to my parents on what they've been through.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
like, what do you say during that time period that you had that point to say, you know what, I might have discredited you in the past,
Right,
but I understand it now. Like,
right.
when did that happen?
Um, that that whole growth and evolution of mindset happened around, I'd say, age 12, um, right towards the end of middle school. Because, mind you, up until then, I had been, I had essentially had a lot of torment due to the actions of specifically my father. My father did a lot of things, and a lot of the things that he was doing um, in terms of drug activity and whatnot was when you come from environments like that, everybody knows who's who, everybody knows who's doing what. So a lot of times I would hear kickback and backlash from that in school. So this is middle school in the early 90s. And if you can imagine, other kids and other children that I'm going to school with, either their parents or they themselves are, you know, selling drugs. And at the end of the day, a lot of the things that my father was doing was in and out of those places with drugs. So um, I would hear essentially that, hey, your father is, doing this, or your father is this, and at the end of the day, all of that, all of that led to me um, feeling my own feelings of I wouldn't do that. If I was a parent, I wouldn't do that. And that's very easy to say when you're a youth. That's very easy to say when you're judging your your essentially your parents, your creators. And even easier when you feel as though the actions are unjust, incorrect, or not what you would do. But the best thing about that is whether it's good, bad, in between, you're gaining your own understanding and your own critical thinking skills as far as what you'd like to be. You develop self. And that's an internal battle because at that time, you're developing morals, you're developing principle, um, and you're developing essentially character. So in that time, I had the chance to develop those things. I can't tell you I always made the right decisions, but for sure, I learned to give grace to those who don't always make the right decision. And that's not just in the sense of my parents, but absolutely for a 17 and a 19-year-old who didn't have to bring me into this world. Oh yeah. I gave them grace, and to this day I give them grace. And honestly, it's nothing that I went through with them that truly was a detriment to um, to my growth and development. Just hurdles, and at the end of the day, between those and my own that were due to my own creation, have done nothing but made me a better man. A better father, better brother, better son, better mate, better partner. Uh, if that answers
No,
the
that's
question.
you definitely answered my question there because what we'll be seeing in the journey is we will all replicate that same time period,
Right.
that same time period of roughly 12 to 13 to about 16
Yeah,
is where we built who we are, and
absolutely.
when we morals, principles,
Yeah,
respect to life, and what we believe in,
yeah,
and we built the rest of our life on. So just to hear you say it is what's crazy because I grew up in the same but different environment.
absolutely.
And my little brother and everybody else around me grew up in that same different environment. But everything always remains the same. The common denominator there is that time period.
Yeah,
You're just trying to figure out who you are. So
it's a critical time period for sure. Like I mean, scientifically and like in in every type of study that has to do with the development of youths, they say by age 5 or 6, I believe it is, you're already, you've got what you've got as far as principles, morals, and
Like
who you
concept of self. Yeah.
yeah,
absolutely. So with that being said, to say that, at least right here, we're saying, hey, 12 to 13, like, yeah, that's like proving ground time. I think there's a little more to say about that as far as the development of those things and what they mean to you.
definitely agree. So I guess on everything is pure, that's what we're trying to prove. It's just like that everyone we bring on this channel, I promise you will replicate the same thing that we saying.
Yeah,
It's like that was when they decided to make decisions, whether they were right or they were wrong. That's the things they built their self on.
yeah,
And if they were wrong, they had an opportunity at an adolescent age to correct.
yeah.
And
No,
that's the way
absolutely.
it is. But go ahead, Prince. My apologies.
No, you
Had to
good.
jump in there.
No, you good. Great question. So what happened after that? You know,
So at that point, I essentially had a few hurdles. My initial hurdle, I'll backtrack really quick and say that initially, my grandmother was an educator and she taught in the city, and she would take me to school with her to to learn in various public schools that I went to. I always was in public school, but essentially she took me to a magnet school initially and had me tested. At that point, what they found out was that I had dyslexia, and that out of that struggle, what I did get, um, it's still something that I deal with to this day. But what I did get was a frustration within the school system.